Hello YouTubers, my name's Andy and I've got a handy little hint for you today. Just a very short video this time. It's about the Boss BR-800 and a nifty little way of playing just a little piece of a song. What I wanted to do, What I wanted to do was to play that up to a specific measure and then I wanted it to stop. And I found a way of doing it, which is not really in the manual, but you might find it helpful. That's a loop which goes round from, there's an introductory counting from measure 3 up to measure 18, and 19 is where I copied it to, so it goes a long way beyond that. I just want to be able to play from measure 1 up to the end of measure 18, and then I want it to stop. Now, here's the clever thing. You probably know, I'll just play this, you probably know that if you press the repeat button, it shows the start of the repeat section, and then, which is A, and then you press the repeat button again. When the song gets to, there we are, it's just looping now. When it gets to B, the song immediately goes back to point A. And that's how you're supposed to use the repeat function. What might be slightly less obvious is that the song doesn't actually have to be playing when you set the repeat section from A up to, we wanted to get to measure 18, B. Now what we've done is we've set the start at the beginning of measure 3 and the end at the end of measure 18, so that will just loop round. But here's the clever trick. If you set the start, that's the A point, to be after the end point, then you'd imagine that the whole thing will just explode. It would melt down. You'd have, end of the universe as we know it. Or alternatively, something useful might happen. Well, there's a number of possible outcomes. If we set the start point to be after the end point, either this thing is going to show us a little error message and say, doesn't make sense, can't do that, can't compute, or the song's going to play backwards from the start point back to the end point, which doesn't seem very likely, and I wouldn't be expecting that. Or alternatively, it could do just exactly what it says on the tin, which is when it gets to point B, it will immediately resume playing at point A, whether that's before or after point B. Crazy. So let's wind the song all the way to beyond measure 200 and then press the start section there. Then we'll go back to the beginning and we'll press the end of the loop on measure 18. That doesn't make any sense at all, does it? But guess what happens? Back to 0 and play. And this is just I'm gonna turn it down a bit so you don't particularly want to hear this nonsense. It'll give you a terrible earworm. So we're on measure 11, 12, 13, 14, and when we get to the end of measure 18, so 16, 17, 18, guess what? We get to the end of the song. But the rhythm is still playing. What can we do about that? Well, that's easy enough. We just edit the arrangement and we put in a step which is a break somewhere around measure 200. It frankly doesn't matter, and then we exit and exit from that. And in theory, we'll go back to the beginning. This song should now just play up to measure 18, and then we should get silence after that. Let's give it a go, shall we? See what happens. Right. Turn it down a little bit. So there we go. Measure 5 with a bit of rhythm going on. 12, 13. Down a bit more. 16, 17. And as if by magic, silence. Actually, the song is still playing, but there's nothing to be heard.